And now, ladies and gentlemen,
Put your thumbs up and say it's Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo, Tickety Boo, everything's Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo, son. Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo.
Welcome to Tickety Boo, the podcast with unscripted conversations from people who've lived it, where myself, Andy Griffiths, along with Iona Russell and Ian Young, we're three working therapists, but more than that, we're three humans trying to make sense of life just like everyone else. In our chats, we explore the mess and the magic of being a human. In each episode, we talk honestly about our own experiences with mental health, relationships, fear, growth, all the stuff we don't say out loud. We're certainly not here to fix you, we're here to make you feel less alone and maybe give you a few things to think about along the way. And in today's episode, we're talking about those moments where your head knows it's time to move on, but your heart hasn't quite gotten the memo yet. Why is letting go so bloody slow, and even when we know it's the right thing? So I want to kick off with talking about that lag between knowing that it's time and doing, because they're two very different things. And I think a lot of us have spent so much time in knowing, but have invested more energy into not doing anything about it than actually doing something about it. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Well, again, it's change. It's difficult. That's probably what it is. Fear of change.
Well, our brains don't like it for a start, do they?
Well, and we say it's better the devil you know. Well, at least I know what my lot is. At least I know what is going to happen. And then they get scared. It's like, no, I just know. It's that familiarity.
It sucks, but I know it sucks.
Yeah.
And then there's logical decisions that you make with your head. But actually, I think a lot of the time it's our heart that we follow in. So your logical decision will be there. But then it's all shrouded by the emotion and the stories you tell yourself and all the feelings that get involved. Them feelings.
So your heart's there, but your head's not quite.
No, I think it's the other way around. I think it's your head. It's the practical. You've made the decision. You can see where to go. You know what the problem is. But it's all the things that are attached to making that change, all the emotional stuff, the stuff that doesn't always make sense and isn't linear. Whereas a common sense decision can be quite linear.
So emotion gets in the way of logic.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
The feeling holds us back, or the thought that comes off the back of the feeling that leads into the story is that hold us back. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah,
And I think it really also varies depending on what we're talking about. Like, are we talking about a relationship? Are we talking about a career? Like, it depends.
Could be anything.
Yeah, and it's that sometimes when people have put so much time and or money into something, whether it's a relationship, whether it's into building something, then it's like, oh no, but I've invested so much time with this person or building this business. I don't want to let it go. Or what else would I do? Or who would I be? I think it's that investment of time.
Or what are the alternatives?
Yeah. What will people say?
Or is it actually more about our identity?
Yes, it's that too.
Do we struggle leaving our identity behind?
It's time to recalibrate that identity.
Well, we'd maybe actually starting to think a little bit differently about these situations. So if you're walking away from, say, let's go relationship, is your identity of I'm a mother, husband, dad, whatever it may be, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, it is. But if I walk away, does that mean I'm a bad or not good enough, or I struggle as my identity as a single person? So actually, the idea of letting go, it doesn't just feel awful, it really knocks your stability about because your identity's been rattled at its core.
Yeah.
If you're a successful businessman and you want to stop and you just want to kick back on the beach or travel or do whatever you want to do, if your core identity is that, and then we all unconsciously think you're that, and then you stop doing that, your inner stability starts to wobble a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, so something there is when we'd finished a big project, about 3 or 4 years ago now, and then for a little while I didn't sort of have anything big for the lads, so I'd sort of said, go find her, take my van, take my tools, just go find her. But the phone stopped ringing. The taxi stopped. And I just had a wall of silence. And all of a sudden I felt irrelevant. And that was where my identity took a bit of a knock, and my ego. And all the egos probably big to do with it. And it was definitely a wake-up call. And that was when I realised that, I have to do something, because
I think
that's important to me.
when we look at identity in this as well, there's the way that we identify to ourselves, but there's also how we identify to those around us that know it as well. And unconsciously, we all conform to it a little bit because it's part of human nature. But within that is the suffering.
Yeah, and with that, I think when we're in that situation, we have to come to self-compassion first and be compassionate with ourselves. If we're like judging ourselves for whether we have or haven't changed, or have or haven't walked away, or what we've caught up with, I think when we can start to reflect with where we are and be compassionate with ourselves for recognizing that, because if we're most people are either ruled by their head or their heart. And when we're trying to make these decisions and letting go, it's like if we can have self-compassion first as part of that decision-making process, so that we will walk away. With that can come inner strength. With that can come inner knowing.
I know for me personally, I'm considering letting something quite big go in my life. And certainly the internal struggle and resistance that I've met is part of my identity is so wrapped up in that untangling myself from it has actually probably felt more complicated than making the decision of I want to let that go.
Yeah.
Because we become it, don't we?
Yeah. And I think that's a really great visual. It's the untangling, because we're not a bit like tied in with things, and it's like trying to pull back isn't as easy as just pulling two magnets apart.
Yeah.
It's like literally it's a detangling and disconnecting.
But the thing I'm entangled with is familiar, and once I'm untangled, I'm in the unknown.
Yeah.
I
So how does that feel?
Well, I think I know what you're talking about, but I've had big changes similar, but they've always been forced.
Yeah,
and that's the difference. So right now where you are, it's a choice, and when it becomes painful and you're losing your identity, it makes you question whether it's the right choice.
Because the reality is, if the choice was made for me and it was taken away, I'd just get on with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the difference, isn't it? Be like, yeah, but the choice hasn't been made for me, so I'll stay entangled. And I think most people can relate with that, with jobs, relationships, friendship groups.
And I think for your situation, is that something you've been considering for a number of years?
Oh, only about 10. No, it's something I find myself, I've revisited the space numerous times, and every time somebody gave me a great analogy the other day. You know the Red Bull divers? The cliff divers? I'm one of those divers. And I'm like, yeah. And I get up the cliff and I stand on the board and I'm like, no. And I want to walk back. And every time I get to that board, either something happens to draw me back in, going, oh, that's good, I'll stay, or a story fires up that creates a load of fear and I don't want to go off the diving board. Where actually I need to go off the diving board and get down into the cold water and go, oh, I want to go up and do that again.
Yeah, I'm quite the opposite. I'm the person that walks up to the edge of the board, then trips, falls, and goes free fall over the edge.
Belly flops into the water.
It wasn't graceful, but the move was made.
I personally think I stay away from the diving board because I don't look great in Speedos. But you can kind of get what I'm saying, the metaphor is there, and it is doing the springboard.
Do you know what I think? I think it's, if every part of the situation that you wanted to change was bad, you wouldn't want to change. Well, you wouldn't have a problem. Yeah. There are good bits as well as the bad bits. It's just you need to weigh up, is it right for me anymore? Is it part of the future that I want to build for myself? Well, does the good really outweigh the bad?
Well, the reality of the situation is every time I think it's really, really bad, something good happens
Yeah.
and goes, oh, actually, maybe it's not that bad. And then within a short period of time, something bad happens to go, yeah, look, it is bad. And you focus on the highlight reels of the situation, the relationship, the job, or whatever the thing is, not the reality, because it gets distorted, skewed through the emotion of the situation.
Well, yeah, that's something I do. Focus on the highlight reels. I'm a shocker for nostalgia and romanticising a situation for what it could be, and a person for what it, or people, sorry, for what they could be, rather than the reality of what the situation is. So it's kind of a different, like a false memory, or
Yeah, it's part of you sort of like, listen, this is my suffering, and I know how to handle it. But if I do something different, there could be a different form of suffering. I don't know if I can handle that.
well, yeah. Well,
yeah,
I
and
mean,
I think it's been really great for you to share, so our listeners can know that we're all in this decision-making process.
Torn,
so, like,
yeah.
even you, and even making this decision, and just how we navigate this so differently. Like, particularly with if we look at the two of you.
Well,
already,
Ian stumbles off the
Ian
board. I
stumbles
just don't
off
go on it.
very ungracefully, and you're just avoiding the edge altogether.
But if we're honest, it really boils back to we fall into an analysis paralysis of the situation. And the brain, even in the pain, will look for the positives to keep you anchored to certainty, because that's what the brain likes. It likes what it knows, even if it's not comfortable. It doesn't like the unknown.
Yeah.
Because our human instinct is survival.
Yep. And I like the word that you use, that anchoring, because you're 100% right now. It could be, I need closure before I move on. I need closure. I need validation. I need people to see my point of view. I hate him, or I hate them, or I hate the situation. But all the while that you're hanging on to this, you're anchored in that situation. And at some point, without wanting to use my same phrase, you've got to let go.
Yeah.
Well, I get,
and be free to
yeah,
move.
I totally agree. And, I get it in the therapy room with people that are like, I hate my job and I want to leave. It'd be so much easier if they just sacked me,
Yeah.
because then I could just get on with it.
Yeah.
Or I'm really unhappy in my relationship. If they just left me, life would be so much easier. It's like, I want somebody else to make the decision, or I want something else to happen that means I have to deal with it.
Yeah. Whereas self-responsibility and self-accountability, we can make that choice. It's like, okay, if that's what you really want, and that's where it can be empowering to make that choice. Whereas, if we allow somebody else to make the choice for us, it just feels easier. And then it's like, because we didn't have to walk away. So it's like, the better the devil you know, I'll just stay here and complain about it for the next 5-10 years. And I know when I've been in those situations, I've again and again asked myself, do I still want to be talking about this in 5 years' time, or even 3 years' time?
So what's the most ridiculous justification you've ever told yourself for staying in something that's like so done past its expiry date?
That's a good one.
Yeah, I'm stuck with that
There's a
one.
few. I'm trying to think of some I can say.
Yeah,
Without throwing people under a bus. I'll kick it off. The biggest justification is I don't like the word hate. This is making me really unhappy. It's taking more from me than it's giving back. But the justification is I need to keep going because I need the money.
Or walking away looks like failure.
I really don't think they meant it.
Yeah.
That's one for me. Trying to sometimes instead of looking at patterns which don't lie, you listen to the words, and as nasty as things can be, they didn't mean it. They were just upset.
So if you're taking this over to people now and relationships, is it at those points when you're saying they didn't really mean it? Is the reality of the situation maybe they were just showing you who they really are?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what I've done is then what you do is you chase. You chase, and instead of your time having a value like a currency, you show it's valueless, because no matter how you're treated, you keep going back to. I know we're going down a different rabbit hole here.
Well, but it matters.
So you keep coming back, and there's. I'm sorry, I've lost track a bit there, but
I get where you're going with it. I think what you're saying to me is that when the justification that you've given for not doing the thing
Well, there's a time when you need to just pick up your power, what's left of it, and walk, rather
Yeah.
than keep
Yeah.
handing it to other people.
Is this costing me my peace?
Yeah, and at the end of the
That's the
day,
thing.
you're constantly handing your power over to people that don't want it, need it, or value it. And I'm just saying, pick up your power and leave. Stop giving it away. Just know when it's time to go.
Yeah,
know
yeah.
when silence is the right language.
Yeah.
Know when you're demeaning yourself and you're almost coming across as desperate. Or it's like dancing. If you've got one person that stood there on their own dancing, just looking at you, you're an idiot, and you're peacocking round them, breaking out the funky chicken and all your best dance moves.
Sounds like an average night out
you
with
know,
Ian.
Well, that's absolutely an average night out with me. But that's kind of a visual representation of what's happening there. And so at that point, you look back and you feel like a bit of a fool.
But
So
when you
that's-
make these decisions, we tend to think that they're just these massive moments. But they're not. They're actually normally really quiet moments, aren't they, when you make these decisions?
yeah.
You know, it's not like, right, that's it, I'm off. Slam all your stuff down on the desk and you slam your door on the way out. It's sometimes a subtle sort of sneaking out, stage left, closely closing the door behind you, and there's not a mushroom cloud
Yeah.
as you do so.
I think there tends to be the moment where, it's that straw that breaks the camel's back, and that's a quiet moment, but it's like somebody flicks a switch in you.
And actually, in context, you normally find that moment where the straw does break the camel's back, it's normally something not that big. There's just been so much stuff that finally, like, do you know what? That's the thing that's tipped it over the edge.
Well, that's it. It's not something big, but it could just be a word or a sentence or a small action that suddenly puts all these different things and patterns into context. And as soon as you get that context, you're just like, I'm done. So, yeah. So that was definitely, I think, going back to the question, I think that's definitely something that I would change in terms of
I think
something that stopped me from moving forwards was hanging on like that in the past.
doubting ourselves,
Yeah.
doubting our worth, not seeing our value, and compromising our peace.
Taking other people's words over our own feelings and just allowing yourself to be.
The thing is, sometimes it's people that you genuinely love and you want to keep a connection with, but the stuff they do still get you back up. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're all human, and at times we're all going to wind each other up unintentionally, but it's like, sometimes it's like, these people have been in my life for a long, long time, and there's connection there, but their consistent behaviour and the choices they make and the things that they do keeps leading me back to this place of, I don't like this. And, making a choice to step away from the situation.
Yeah.
That doesn't say anything about you. It's a choice that you make that's right for you. So, that makes you not slow, not weak, just makes you human, doesn't it? That's the key thing. And your heart will always get in the way of your logic.
Yeah.
Emotion. If you're making choices from a place of emotion, they're normally not good choices.
Sleep on it.
Yeah, delay it a bit so you're not in the emotion, and that's when that's what I was saying, those moments of quietness. There, when the change comes and you make the shift and go, do you know what? I'm done with this.
And I think that's something else that you've kind of just touched on. Oh, in your head, I think sometimes when we talk about change or whatever, it involves a period of reflection, so you know where you're going to go. And sometimes it's what your brain does.
Yeah, I've learned you need to do that after the choice, not so much in advance, because that's when you'll start talking yourself out of it.
Yeah.
You'll come up with 100 reasons not to do it and want to do it. The reflection comes afterwards, normally with a bit of guilt, a bit of doubt and all the rest of it. It's all part of that cocktail of messy emotions you get when we change the narrative. Yeah. So if you're listening to this, it can be a bit messy, but change doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice, and it'll happen in those quiet moments. It's not these big moments. But if there's stuff in your life that's costing you your comfort and costing you your peace, listen to it, because it's a bit of a compass. It's trying to redirect you. So, as always, we hope you've enjoyed this episode of Tickety Boo, and we look forward to catching you in the next episode.
If you or someone close to you needs to access mental health support, please contact your GP, or if it's out with normal office hours, get in touch with NHS 24 on 111. Alternatively, contact the Samaritans on 116 123. All calls are free of charge from any phone. You can also find more support information on the Tickety Boo website, ticketyboopodcast.co.uk.